So we've had some viewers ask, I don't know the first thing about ARs. So let's show you. Hey guys, it's Kelly here from Armed and Feminine, and in our last AR video, one of our subscribers, Robin, said, I don't know like too much about it. Can you show me just some basics about the AR? So that's what I want to do for you today. If you're new to ARs, and I can liken them to pistols, and that seems to make it a little bit easier for everybody, and hopefully it could give you a better comfort level with knowing the lingo. So right here we have two different ARs. This would be my modern sporting rifle, the M&P 15, and then my husband's, which is a Stag Arms. What you're going to find basically is that an AR is an AR is an AR. They all pretty much work exactly the same. Well, they do work exactly the same. It's just on how you choose to accessorize your gun that is going to make it different looking and different acting from somebody else's. But pretty much they all work the same way when you break them down to the guts. So let's take a look at those. All right, so let's start with magazines. I want to put this into perspective for those of you who are pistol shooters, because it'll make a little more sense, just like it did for a lot of the girls who are in our class who are pistol shooters, like aha moment. So let's start with the magazine. This particular one will hold 30. But you will note that there are no markings either on the sides or on the back to tell you how many there are. So little trick. One, you can load this just like your pistol magazine, where you can push it down and slide it back, same way, or super easy, you can just click them right in, and it seems to save a whole lot more time when you do that. Now, you could say, I'm not sure how many there are. Interesting note, if your top cartridge is on the right, there are an even number in your magazine. If your top cartridge is on the left, there are an odd number in your magazine. Still don't know if it's 27 or 28, or 26, who knows? But there you have it. So let's take a look at the actual pieces of the gun at this point. Frame action barrel, just like any other gun, has your main parts. Interestingly, while we look at the barrel, most of them are about 16 inches long. There's a handguard to each one of those. If you think about the handguard as like the pot holder of this barrel, because that barrel gets really hot. So there are different types and different lengths that you can have, and here's where your hand is going to be placed so it doesn't get hot. Alrighty, so next we're going to take a peek at a magazine release, which will be right here. So you can actually use your index finger to just pop that right out. Another piece, so if we're thinking about our pistols, you know, when we load the magazines and then we need to rack the gun to get the round in the chamber, same thing here, we're going to pull what's called a charging handle. This charging handle here, well, it's not going to go because I don't have a mag in here. This is a charging handle, which is going to strip off that round and put it into the chamber. You do want to make sure that that's always pressed back in after you charge it, because they're just aluminum and they tend to break off. So this is how you would rack the gun, by pulling the charging handle. On the other side, we'll note this would be essentially like the slide release for your gun. So once you go ahead and chamber that, this will be open, and you can either just chamber it by doing this or smacking that button, which will go ahead and load that round as well. There is the fun button here, which of course, safe and fire. This gun is always on safe, truly, until you are ready to fire. So that's something that's a little bit different. So of course, we always are proponents of carrying our pistols not on safe, because we'll forget about it. But this particular gun, we can't. So you do have to make a mental note to make sure to remember to go from safe to fire before you shoot. So let's take a peek at the sights. This particular one, I have an optic on it. And many of them will have iron sights. And this is where that accessorizing piece comes into play on what you might like and what you might not like. So we can either just follow the dot here to our target, or we can pop those up and use these through the scope onto our front sight here as well to really line up our shot, especially if it's really far away. Or if you have no optic at all, you just go back to iron sights, just like this gun has. Let me see here. The Stag Arms. This particular one has, let me go around this way with it. These sights here. See, just pretty much flat, just your plain old basic AR, but it will shoot exactly the same. And we'll pop those up and line them up straight on to our target. So when we look at these versus our pistols, pretty much the same thing. Frame action barrel, our pot holder, the hand guard, our slide release button, which we could just smack. This is our charging handle that's going to rack the gun, and of course the fun button, safe and fire. If we only had that full auto fun button on there, it would be even a lot more fun. So then we're going to take a look at the stance that we're going to have with this. 4 points to remember: hand here, hand, and actually the farther out you could get this would be better for you, but as far as the hand guard will get you hand, hand, shoulder, cheek. Someone else is having fun. Hand, hand, shoulder, cheek here. So we're going to make sure that it's pressed right under our cheek at this point. We're going to have a couple of stances. One is either going to be a bladed stance where I'm a little askew, since I'm right-handed, my left foot forward, leaning into, oh, look at that, it lined right up, how nice. Or of a more combative type stance that we're used to in pistol shooting too, of that isosceles, head down. So straight up. The one thing that's a little unusual for me, I'm a cross dominant, I'm left eye dominant. It's always a problem. It's really difficult to shoot pistol, or excuse me, to shoot the rifle being left eye dominant. So you do have to sort of cross over to the right eye, which is why I like to use the optic on mine. It seems to do that correction a little better for me for accuracy. So it's really hard to really cock your head for the left eye dominance. So hand, hand, shoulder, cheek, and in. So key remembering to go to fire before we have fun. So pretty much very similar to pistols here in how they work. You just have to get used to practicing that. So let's just go off and fire a few more rounds and see how that works. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and load the mag. Remember, pointy side, bolts to the front. See it, feel it, hear it click. So I'm going to charge it. That racks it. So this point I'm still on safe. So for this drill, I'm just going to go ahead and lean out from behind my cover here, my concealment, fire a few shots and do it to the other side just to get used to it. And I am going to use my scope through my sights here. So here we are. You'll see that's sort of like your slide locked open. So I put it right back to safe. Gonna pop my mag, and we just keep practicing. All right, so that's pretty much the nitty-gritty baseline of this AR. Try to relate it to the pistol for those of you who are usual pistol shooters. A lot of fun. You'll notice that I switched out my ears for this one because these are really loud, way louder than pistol in the crack. And I actually even double up on my ears because it is so loud. And there's not a whole lot of recoil to these either. The 223s that you can use, well, they're cheaper. Not a whole lot of recoil to that. And of course I have two bad shoulders with lots of surgeries, and it doesn't even really bother me at all. But it's a whole lot of fun to use and just changes up the game just a little bit so that you can be more proficient with not just pistols, but also with rifle. I'm Kelly from Armed and Feminine. Hit the subscribe button right here. And if you'd like to see another one of our videos, you can click here. Thanks for watching. Remember, it's your life, protect it.